Hey, what's up everybody? I'm Waller's Wallet and welcome back to another award booking demonstration where this time we're looking at an award booking need for Victor for his honeymoon in 2020. But first, if you're new to this channel is all about credit cards, credit card rewards, and showing you how you can use your points and miles to travel for less. So if something that interests you, consider subscribing and turn the bell notification on as well. Also, consider giving the video a thumbs up. It really does help the channel out. Now Victor's looking to fly 2 people business class if possible, but he's willing to fly coach if that's all that's available from LA over to Auckland, New Zealand. He currently has 200,000 ultimate reward points, but him and his bride-to-be are going to be earning more points as they pay for their wedding. Now he's looking to spend about 2 weeks there, sometime between September to November. And Victor, I currently have you leaving right around September 8th, coming back 2 weeks later on September 22nd. Now Victor, one thing to know is that business class seats to New Zealand, they can be found and it can be done, but it is definitely more difficult than other places such as, let's say, Europe. If you find award space, you definitely want to book first and think later, because if you think about it too long, I guarantee someone's going to snatch up those seats, because it's not very common we see a lot of award space given out to New Zealand. Now with that being said, let's get into looking how we can do this for you. And I always start off with Google Flights, because you never know what the cash price is going to be for some of these options. You might find a super cheap cash fare in coach, or even potentially in business class, which we've seen some of those recently as well over to Asia. So we're gonna look from LA over to Auckland, leaving on September 8th, coming back on the 22nd. Now we're first going to look at economy flights, but then we'll also look at business as well to kind of see what the prices may be. So one thing we can notice here is that it's going to be roughly $2,100 for a one-stop on Hawaii, or it'd be $2,300 roughly to fly nonstop Air New Zealand. So the question you need to ask yourself, if you're going to go this route, and this could potentially be a decent route for you if you're looking for coach, we'll get that here in a few minutes. But the question is it worth the extra roughly $200 to fly non-stop? Because if anytime you have a layover, you run the risk of something happening, maybe a delay, a mechanical issue, which could potentially impact your travel. So, for $200, is it worth it? Maybe, maybe not. It's completely up to you. Now to look at business class seats, we're looking at roughly $9,000 to roughly $10,000 plus dollars. So there's no super cheap fares to use maybe your Chase points on, but we'll look at those as well. But so now that we know that, let's take a look at our transfer options. And because you have Chase Ultimate Reward points, the big one we're gonna look at is United Airlines. Because United, they don't pass on fuel surcharges. Air New Zealand is a Star Alliance partner, and it just gives us options as well, since they're probably one of the better Chase Ultimate Reward partners for long distance flights like this. Avios wouldn't be so good just because of the fact they're distance-based and per segment. So United is where we're going to start, and so let's go take a look there. Now I typically search in award space in one-ways. Doesn't mean you're always going to book in a one-way. You might take advantage of a round trip, but I always search in one-way. It gives a little bit more flexibility. One-way, LA to Auckland, September 8th, 2 adults, and we're going to take a look as it loads up. Now as this loads up, you're going to notice that saver space on United is 40,000 miles one way and roughly $27. Now the reason why I chose the 8th, if you look, it's the only data around that has saver space on for business class. Now we're going to go ahead and sort by saver business space, but the one thing you're going to notice is that it is mixed cabin. You're going to fly out from LA to Shanghai in business class on United Polaris, and then you're going to fly on Air New Zealand economy from Shanghai to Auckland. Now, I would personally prefer to use my miles completely in business class if I'm going to pony up those extra miles. That might not be an option for you. It may or may not come. So then the question you need to ask yourself, is it worth the extra 40,000 miles to fly 13 hours in business class? If the answer to that is yes and you don't want to wait, this is an option for you. If you think a better option is going to come along, you can wait for it. Just know if you wait and it's not there, you may miss out on it and fly coach the whole way. Completely up to you. I'm not sure if I would want to fly for an extra 40,000 miles just one way. But then again, 13 hours is a long time. So, people would kill to spend 40,000 miles for a 13-hour business class flight. So if you look at it in that way, it might not be so bad. But 80,000 miles and $40 is roughly what you're spending per person, which is 160,000 miles one way. Now that does bring us to another issue, is that currently you don't have enough miles in your account to fly 2 people round trip in business class. Now you may be earning more points and miles as more wedding expenses come your way and you're opening more credit cards, But at this current moment in time, as I shoot this, you don't have enough miles for that. So you may be able to do one leg in business and maybe you have to fly coach the other leg on the way home. Those are just things to consider because at this moment in time, you don't actually have enough miles to fly completely in business class. But now since this is our option to potentially fly you business class there, we need to get you home. Now, when I was looking at a bunch of different options for you, there was no business class space available on the flight home in September at all. Now, more space could open in October and November, but again, I think you may be looking at mixed cabin space. It may open up more so as it gets closer, but you might not want to wait, 2 or 3 weeks or a month before your flight to leave to be looking for award space. So on the way home, again, we have 40,000 points for saver availability. And then at $64, you have to change airports here in Tokyo. Or if you don't want to change airports, you're looking at about $115 to $125 in taxes and fees. Remember what the cash price is, so it's not terrible for that, but we potentially have a better option for you as well. Now, one thing I do want to bring up is a partnership with Virgin Atlantic and Air New Zealand. Now, for this partnership to work, you do need to be flying completely on Air New Zealand metal. So the partnership here from the South Pacific to LA is 60,000 points round trip in an economy or 90,000 miles round trip in business class, which you do currently have enough miles for that. But to find 2 business class seats completely on Air New Zealand metal might pose a challenge for you because the first leg we were looking for United, or the first leg was United, and then the second part of that flight was Air New Zealand. And Virgin Atlantic is not going to see that. It has to be completely on Air New Zealand metal. So keep an eye out for that because if you see that option for you, it would be worth it because it's going to be a lot fewer miles than if you were to use United. Now, in order to search for that, you do want to use United's website because United is going to show that Air New Zealand space. You're looking for saver availability to do that. Then you would need to call into Virgin Atlantic and book this. Now, Chase points should transfer instantly at a 1-to-1 ratio. Sometimes there's maybe a glitch to where it's not doing that. If that happens, call Virgin Atlantic. The reps are fantastic. Put that award space on hold, and then when the point's deposited, call back in and finish up that booking. But this would be the one space I would definitely look at if you can find it. If you can't find all in Air New Zealand, then you're kind of stuck on using United miles if you're looking to book business class. If you can find a nonstop Air New Zealand flight, Virgin Atlantic is going to be a far better option for you. And you can book in one way as well. It does not require to be a round trip. So keep that in mind. Definitely worth doing. You'll just want to be searching award space quite a bit. Now let's go take a look at the Chase travel portal because you do have the Sapphire Reserve and we do want to look at our options there. All right, now that we're at the Chase travel portal, we want to click over here to travel. And then once we get to travel, we are going to search for a round trip ticket here from Los Angeles, from LAX, over to Auckland, from 9/22, or 9/8 to 9/22. I wish Chase would make it to where when you selected a date in the future, it would gray out the spots that were in the past for that flight. Doesn't make any sense that it can't handle that. All right, now that we have some options here, you do have a few options when it comes to using the travel portal. One is using China Eastern. You can look, it's just about $1,000 per person round trip. You do have some longer flight times, 32 hours, 44 hours, but that there would only be just under 67,000 points round trip per person, which is gonna be better than transferring your points out to United if you're looking to fly coach. You do have this option here for Hawaiian Airlines, which would be just about, $1,060, which would be roughly, 70,500 ultimate reward points, which would maybe be a better use just for a couple thousand more miles because it's a lot shorter of a flight time. 16 hours, 17 hours to 32, that's a big difference. Now, if you wanted to pony up for nonstop, it would be roughly just a little under $1,200, which would be about 79,000 points per person. Now, this does make it better still than United, because while United is still 80,000 points round trip in coach, you do have to pay the taxes and fees there when you don't have to pay it on this. That's included here. Plus, you can credit these miles and earn redeemable miles for future flights as well. So if you're looking to fly coach, this wouldn't be a bad option using the travel portal, and then you would just need to choose how long of a layover you want, how many points you're looking to use. Now, the other option we have is if you decided to, let's say, book business class on the way out and book coach on the way home, we can look at a one-way on the way back. Now, we're gonna look from Auckland over to LAX on 9/22 And now that this loads up, you can see you can fly Air Tahiti for about $477, or it would be just under 32,000 points. Now remember, I don't have the Chase Sapphire Reserve, which is why the numbers look different on the screen. So I've converted them over for you because you have the Sapphire Reserve. The other option for you though is to fly non-stop on Air New Zealand back home, which would be just a little over 34,000 miles, or 34,000 Chase points. So you're looking at roughly a 2,500 to 3,000 point difference to fly non-stop as opposed to a one-stop. Completely up to you how you'd want to do that. Either way, both of these options is going to be better than transferring your points out to United to booking your flight home in coach. If you're going to book it completely in coach, using the Chase portal is going to be better even if you wanted to book nonstop both ways. Or if you're looking to, save miles, you could definitely do that by having a longer flight time and only spending, 67,000 miles per person, leaving you plenty of miles for future trips. So, Victor, you have plenty of options here. As you earn more miles, you could look to book completely in business class if the space allows. You can book the mixed cabin on the way out. You can, book coach on the way home or book completely in coach. But if you are going to go coach, I do think the Chase travel portal is going to be your best option here with that Sapphire Reserve and that 1.5 cent per point uplift. But Victor, be sure to let us know how you book this. I'm always curious how people end up deciding to book these flights. You could wait as well to see what happens in October and November. But I think you're going to find some similarities as far as mixed cabin awards and very limited award space for business class flights. But Victor, I hope you and your bride-to-be have a great honeymoon in New Zealand. It is on my list of places to visit. Now, if you want to be featured in my award booking demonstration, remember to fill out my form. There is a link down in the description below, as well as on my website. I do these booking demonstrations every other week, so be sure to fill out those forms if you want in on it. But hey, thanks for watching this video. If you want to help support the channel, a simple way would be using links on the website or in the description below. And until next time, safe travel and take care.